Welcome to the what? Equity.Guru Investor Roundtable. I got confused because I was ready to sing. Who's with me? Ready? Cross River. The song is Moon River. The company is Cross River. I should be a lounge singer. I'm
Finally, you had a voice.
Is that joke?
You got the lounge bit down.
I've heard the lounge part I've definitely accomplished.
You're a lounge bringer.
Chris Perry right there, upstairs in the new hat, lid, toque. TK down here in the basement with me, making cocktails. Vishal up there in the far corner. At least I can't sing and I can't speak. Mm-hmm. We are talking about Cross River, CRVC on the Canadian Exchange. And our pal Alex Clement is the CEO and director of this adventure out of Vancouver, British Columbia. Vishal is going to tee up the brief portion of this before we go around the horn.
Yep. So just quickly here, Rob, gold exploration company that is in Ontario in the greenstone belt. And we talk about good jurisdictions. Canada, I think, is a great place to be, specifically places like Ontario, Quebec, well, actually even BC now, because remember, we did permit a mine after quite some time. But it's a non-AK-47 country. I always talk about jurisdiction being important, and you sort of want to be in these non-AK-47 countries. Ontario has a rich history of exploration and gold mining, and I just want to show you where their projects are located. In the heart there, Red Lake, these are all their projects in Ontario. And I believe here as well, you can see that they are situated, and we talk about where these projects are situated, obviously following that vein there. There are some historical drills on other projects that are pretty high grade here. You know, we're talking about 6.17 grams per ton and higher. Actually, just recently, a news release or the latest news release from Cross River is confirming a high grade gold at the Mascouche project, sampling up to 32 grams per ton gold. So they are finding stuff. And I think this is one of those, it's an early stage play, but it's one of those exciting plays because not much digging has been done at the McVicker Gold Project. I think that's how you pronounce it.
It'd be McVicker.
McVicker, there we go. McVicker. And here are some also historical drill results from the McVicker project, including some big grams per ton here. We're talking about 56.5 grams per ton. So this is one that I think will be an exciting play, an exciting discovery potential play. Not much drilling has been done there, and they might be sitting on some gold.
By the way, if Irish people were as sensitive about political correctness as anyone else, which they're not, they'd be upset if you called them a McVicker. But anyway, that's how you pronounce it, McVicker. Mr. TK, what's going on with the financials here? These guys get going.
Yes, sir. I just want to make a note here, and it'll kind of go to all the other resource companies we've talked about. But when you look at a company that's in their stage, so they're exploring, they're actually evaluating the mineral exploration and the assets. But based on the information they have as of today, they haven't determined if their resources or their assets have any economic recoverable value. So valuing the company, you really have to look at what the balance sheet really tells you. It's more important to look at that and focus on how much they're spending on OPEX or ETC. So I would look at the balance sheet, and it's a pretty clean one. I'll start with the market cap, $3.7 million market cap company with cash in the bank of $1.79 million. So almost half your market cap is cash. The rest of that is property, plant, and equipment, $2.6 million in property, plant, and equipment. And they have $190,000 in liabilities. So total liabilities is $190,000. So it's a cash-heavy, property-heavy company with management who has know-how, with permits and licenses already, and it's trading at a discount to what a private buyer would buy it for. And that's just a perfect combination for a company that is still exploring, as Vishal alluded to. And once they do find the value that's underlying their properties, that the valuations for most of their assets will increase in tandem to whatever the realization price of the auction is for the gold ore at the time. So it's a perfect catalyst. It's just when you look at it, you have to realize that you're looking at a company that is in the process of exploring. So it's a different analysis completely. So a lot of people focus on, oh, it made an earnings loss, but it's the essence of what the business is doing is what you have to focus on. And I think the market is ignoring that right now, hence the discount to the assets.
Yeah, and we've talked about leadership, and this is our pal Alex Clement. Chris is a guy we just talked about with Azincourt. So this is a person that brings different.
Yeah, we've dealt with him on a bunch of companies. He's a hardworking guy, hits the phones hard, cracks the bushes, gets people out, and generally tends to gather the forces of good. In a company this size, you're really sort of looking at risk management, right? Like, is this company going to actually do the work? Well, if you look through the news releases over the last year, they're actively doing the work. Now, it's early stage work, and so you start to think, well, will they find anything? So far on the sampling side, they're finding stuff. They've moved through to drilling, or at least they're in the process of. The stock price is not being kind to them, but that's an affliction that a lot of gold explorers are hitting. The money that would normally be thrown into gold as a hedge against inflation, as against political problems, the potential for the money markets to dip, that's going to crypto for the large part right now. So gold is kind of taking it. That said, there's always going to be a market for the shiny stuff, and an outfit that progresses their deal along to the place where they can actually start looking at pulling it out of the ground at a production level. That's something that you want to get involved in. The market cap on this deal right now is about $4.5 million. That is a pretty tiny deal for what they have in bank. As TK said, they've got about $2 million cash. So really, this company's trading at about $2 million market cap. Take the equipment into the equation, there's a couple of $1 million there. So really, it's free if you think about it. Will it go down further? Well, there's always the chance that it goes to zero, right? But, there's money in the bank. They're going to do some work. My sense on this is we're not going to hear much about it for a little while. We're just going to get updates on the work being done. But when they've actually got that drill program finished, if there's anything like a decent amount of results in that batch, this thing is well positioned to move up quickly. So, hey, the stock is not exactly expensive. It's about 14.5 cents. And if you go back through the last year, that's come down from about 40. So, if you were in this thing way early, sorry about that, you've been hit. But that's not my problem. It's not the problem of people watching our video today. What we get is the things moved along over the last year in a nice, quiet, efficient way, and we get it for 1/4 of the price that it was back then. That seems like a pretty good deal to me. Now, is it going to jump suddenly next week? Unlikely, unless there's some sort of real catalyst news. If you're putting something in on this right now, you're putting it in for the next 6 months, 12 months, and you're waiting for that news to come one morning and show you a nice return. But at 12 cents, 11 cents, look, every cent that this goes up is an almost 10% jump, right? If this was a $2 stock, every cent it goes up is not a 10% jump. So any decent news brings you a return that is of significance. The volume of trading isn't low. It's not non-existent. There's a decent amount of trading. It's just unfortunately that people have been trading out of their positions because they've probably been impatient over the last year. They're a little bit underwater. There's other opportunities. They cash out. They move on. That, in mining explorer terms, is your opportunity to start building a position when other people are fearful and you believe in the team and you believe in the project. That's the time you start hoarding. I know that these guys are doing work. I've talked to them. I've gone through it with them. And, they've said, look, we're not going to be looking for marketing here. We're not spending money on storytelling because it's just too early. We've got things to do. And honestly, if they're going to raise money, they're not going to do it at this price. So it could be a little bit quiet for a while, but it won't take much for this thing to start really elevating. And so that's why I look at now as being hey, you might get it for 10 cents next week, but it might also jump to 15 cents on a decent result.
Right. Michelle, the text, this thing, as we've looked at, has been sliding down for the most part, but
It has, yeah. And Chris, he nailed all the key points there that we might not hear from them for some time. A lot of people are probably waiting for that catalyst or waiting for some drill results, and that might take some time here. And today we hit record lows, basically hitting 11 cents. And as Chris said, maybe we hit 10 cents next week. But this is probably going to be showing up on a lot of people's, I guess, bottom picker plays here, because when you hit your 52-week record lows, there are people who take a look at that. So I would be watching to see if we get some sort of momentum. This is just me from a technical perspective, but I would really love to see a close above 15 cents, to actually trigger that uptrend. And yes, that is a huge percentage gain from where we are right now, just depending on because of how cheap the stock price is. But I think when you think about these junior gold projects, again, Cross River is very early stage. There's a whole bunch of other projects out there that are doing some drilling. There are a few of them that are a bit more advanced on the exploration side. The thing is, all these juniors and a lot of the mining stocks in general will move and do well when gold moves up. And I think that's sort of the key there. If you are bullish gold, I think a lot of these cheaper price stocks could be good trades going down the road, road here. And today, two big sort of like news on the gold front. We heard, Fed Chair Jerome Powell basically finally admit today that, hey, we're going to stop using the word transitory for inflation now, because maybe inflation's not transitory anymore. So that's a key point that's been taken out, and we're going to have to sort of see what happens, because the Fed chair is now sort of saying, hey, we're going to taper quicker than before. So a lot of people are thinking that, is the Fed now losing control out of inflation? Whereas another group of people are saying, hey, with this Omicron variant, the Fed might start printing more money once again, and we'll have to keep rates low. And that's usually a good thing for gold. And then on the other side, you actually had billionaire Ray Dalio come out today, and his new book actually came out today. So maybe that's why he's been around. But he's talking about, he gave his cash is trash. So he's quite famous for his cash is trash saying, which he said, I think it was before COVID. But he was, saying, hey, you got to be putting your money in things like gold, or he even said Bitcoin as well, just basically these non-fiat assets. And he was saying the same thing again today. And I think, that's going to garner some attention from people, especially the funds, because when they hear Ray Dalio talk, I think they like to, basically do what he recommends. Last time he said this 2 years ago, I know a lot of gold institutions bumped up their portfolio allocation to 5% gold. So I think, follow the gold market and look at what's happening in macroeconomics terms and basically around the world. You have big money telling you, hey, maybe inflation's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. You have the Fed saying, hey, inflation's not transitory anymore. And then you have gold, which is generally seen as that inflation hedge. So I think if we factor all that stuff in, I really like gold. It is getting a bit of a beat down today because of the US dollar strength, but I'd be looking around 1750 there for some support base for gold, which means, some of these explorers on a company like Cross River might see a bit more weakness. But as Chris said, maybe around that 10-cent zone, we'll be able to find a good bargain there.
It is CRVC on the Canadian exchange, CRVC Cross River. And TK is going to tell us first if he's spending any of my money.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think I'm going to steal from Chris here. He probably didn't want to sound like a boomer, but I'm going to do it for him. The Bitcoin thing that's happening has only been around for 10 years. It's somewhat correlated to inflation, but there's still a lot of untested ground. No matter what you do, the shiny middle, as he said, is going to be around for financial uses and commercial uses. So I feel they have cash on book. They have 2.3 in property. You're buying this thing for free if you're buying today. Of course, this is book value free, so don't take my word for it. Take the published accounts that they put up to the government. But I'm putting in half of the pot, 3,500.
Team Gold, man. Welcome to Team Gold.
Yeah, I want to leave some space for the Bitcoin.
Chris?
This is a tough one because it really comes down to whether you're the sort of guy that wants returns for Christmas or you want returns for Easter. I think if you've got a little time on your hands, I'd just start building a position here, maybe 500, $1,000. If tomorrow it's at 10 cents, throw another 500. If it's at 9 cents the next day, toss in another 5. It's one of these things where you're going to get opportunities. I think I don't get the sense that management is like desperate to run the stock up today.
Right.
Of course, they'd love to, but they're going to keep their powder dry for when they can really make it happen. And let's be honest, tax loss selling season is upon us. So people who've been in this for a while probably getting out right now so they can lock in that tax loss. There may be worse days ahead. That said, those worst days are for people who've been in it for a year and a half. They're not for those of us who are looking at starting a position. For those people, this is gold, no pun intended. We want the price down so we can start really taking a hefty position in the stake. Now, they are, as has been said, this is very early stage. They're literally walking around with pickaxes, prying off bits of rocks on the side of the road right now. If you've ever watched mining shows on the Discovery Channel, where dudes are walking around with pickaxes and metal detectors, that's this. A little bit more sophisticated than those drunks and crazy people, but it's early days. They're just sort of walking around, seeing if they can find any shiny stuff glinting in the sunshine, and then sending it off to the lab to see exactly how shiny it is. Yeah. That's good for us, right? Because you don't want to get in there once they've already done the drilling and they've got the permits and they're away to go, because then it's not 14 cents anymore, then it's $7. But the area where these guys are looking is surrounded by guys who've already gone to $7, right? Great Bear, like this is a mining area that is if you go in there looking to start a mine, nobody's standing in front of you with a peace sign saying, "Do not dig in our lovely ground." They're used to the mining out here. There's plenty of staff, plenty of infrastructure, and plenty of success stories. That's not to say that these guys will definitely be one of those, but if you look through the news flow over the last year, it's raised money, did some exploring, found some stuff, did more exploring, found more stuff, starting to drill. And that's what you want to see. Now, clearly, it hasn't gone to the plan that was enacted a year and a half ago, where the stock was up much, much, much higher. Don't look at that and say, well, this is a terrible story. Look at that and say, this has been a terrible story, that it took too long to get where it needed to go, that it didn't have enough money to do the proper exploring. Maybe there were people here earlier that weren't quite up to the task. Right now, the people involved are gearing up for this to be a thing in the early new year. So don't go hog wild right now, but look for opportunities. Take your shots where you get them. Like 3 a.m. at the Roxy.
What are you dropping?
500.
500.
Maybe 1,000.
Building on it.
It's the starting point, so I'm paying attention to it every day.
Yeah. I'm sort of like Chris there. It might be surprising to some of our viewers here, but I'm in a few gold positions. I have enough, I think, right now. I would say though, something like this though is attractive for people just wanting to enter, like Chris said, maybe $500 to $1,000, and watch this. This is just me, but I like to focus a bit more on a bit more advanced projects in my portfolio. So for something like Cross River, the risk to return is obviously very attractive, but again, until they dig and find something, and then you'll know that, hey, maybe where they are, there could be a bit more. That's what I sort of want to see. So I think for me, I would rather wait for that first results or just some pending results. They might not have to be too spectacular, right? Because obviously if it is, I'm probably going to miss the boat. But I just want to see what they're finding and the types of grades and, the length, right? How many meters of that grade is there? So I would just be a bit more patient and wait for some of those drill results to come on. But again, I do like gold and commodities in general. It's just I have a lot more advanced stage juniors and explorers that I would sort of prefer putting my money into.
So you're doing like $1,000 right now then?
Very minimum, yeah, 1,000 or 500.
All right. Boy, oh boy, what is going on? All right, people. CRVC is Cross River Ventures Corporation on the Canadian Exchange. We cannot guarantee results. We can't guarantee anything we tell you, although a lot of wisdom here at the table. And you should do your own homework and also not expect to see the exact same thing in terms of past results affecting future performance. Please do your homework. And thank you to Goldfinger himself in this occasion, TK, Vishal, and Chris Perry up top. I'm Rob. We'll see you on the very next Equity Guru Investor Roundtable.